Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in, Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We continue as we do every single week. Welcome in Monday. We are kicking off the week with a great guest. I'll introduce our guest in just a moment. Just as a reminder, for those that are tuning in on Facebook, thank you for following us. We appreciate that very much. And more importantly, be sure to download the podcast. That's where you could catch the shows if you happen to miss some of the shows. You can listen to them at your convenience. Of course, you could go to iTunes or anywhere on Google, search Real Estate Radio Live. You could get the podcast on iTunes and many of the other places. Or you could just go to our website at RERL-1499-Long. That's RERL-1499-Long. Most of you know they've been following the show for almost 8 years. The focus has always been the same. It'll never change here at Real Estate Radio Live, and that is education and information. So what I do is try to have great guests on a regular basis like I have today, provide you content, information, education to help you make wise decisions in and around real estate. It's pretty simple in the sense that we want to continue to allow you to grow and educate yourself so that when you make these decisions on real estate, whether it's buying, selling, investing, building, remodeling, no matter what it is, that you feel like you have access to some great information. We continue to get wonderful feedback for that as well. Lastly, before I get started, if anybody needs to reach me during the week, it's always the same, 408-838-9060, and or you could email me, joe at reradiolive.com. All right, let me introduce my guest. He is calling us, and this is a little unique time for most of you that are following us on Facebook, but that is because we have a special guest, Billy Keels, who is the founder and CEO of KeePon Cashflow, and he's calling us from Spain, and that's the reason for our special time here, but we're honored to welcome in. Billy, good to have you.
Hey, Joe, thanks so much. I'm really looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, I am as well. It's exciting. Always great to talk to a entrepreneur, a partnering entrepreneur. I know how that is. It's someone that works very hard to pick up on a vision or something you're passionate about and start working on it and see some success like you have and really grow to help a lot of people in the way of doing that. And I know it's always exciting for me and to most people to hear these stories. So maybe before we get started on the journey and a lot of the things that you're doing, some of the exciting things you're doing, Billy, if you could give our listeners maybe a bit of a background and then your current kind of roles and responsibilities with KeePon Cashflow at this point.
Yeah, sure. So I guess the first thing is, yes, I am based in Barcelona, Spain. I've been living in Europe now for about the last 17 years. And but this is from a guy who's from Columbus, Ohio, from the Midwest, and spent almost all of my up until about 28 years old, in the United States. I had a chance to work and travel a lot after college. I went to college in southwest of Ohio, and afterwards had an amazing job. And during that job, it gave me the opportunity to work and travel throughout some different countries. So my mind was completely expanded to a lot of different opportunities. And so after 5 years in 58 different countries, I didn't see myself going into a quote unquote normal 9 to 5. And so I decided I wanted to do a 1-year sabbatical. I moved to Paris, France. I was there. I wanted to learn more about the French language. I wanted to learn a little bit about wine and also learn how to salsa dance, believe it or not. But stranger things would happen. That was in 2001. I since have lived in Italy as well, and most recently have been living in Barcelona, Spain. So I met a very nice Spanish woman when I was living in France. Still, we were together when I was in Italy, and then when I came back, and then I actually been here ever since. And so I'm a father of 2 as well, husband, son, uncle. And yeah, so and basically got into, as it relates to real estate, I also work during the day, let's say in the corporate world. I work for an application software sales company, business process application company. I'm in sales.
Okay.
And I into the Spanish market. And one of the things was I got into real estate kind of by accident, Joe, because I had some difficulties in 2000, a little bit after 2000, a little bit after 2008, where I saw my portfolio, basically I was in mutual funds and 401k, kind of the values went down, and I was really looking for some new alternatives. I read a book like probably many of your watchers and listeners, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that kind of changed things for me. So I'm sure I'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's kind of how I got into real estate, really just looking for some new alternatives because I was frustrated from not really having much control.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That's a good place to start, Billy. I mean, most people, as I mentioned, contact the show. I get a lot of emails, phone calls, texts, those, just about investing, real estate investing in general. And I think it's always of interest, and I'm not sure that it'll ever change, quite honestly, because of the intrigue of the difference in actually owning something physical that you have control over. And I think you made a good point. And a lot of people will talk about the stock market and the 401ks and mutual funds. And, we were kind of grown up and taught and marketed to, and that's what you're supposed to do and invest and your minimum 10, 15% and work hard and all that, which is great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think what you're saying, and a lot of people are really feeling the same way, is, what other opportunities are there for me to not only invest and diversify my money and my interests, but I have more control over what's going to happen. I have some say over it. And I think that's one of the biggest parts, I think, the pieces of real estate that is intriguing to people. And we get a lot of requests, as I said, in the Bay Area of, where should I invest, Joe? Where is the best place for my money? Obviously, people out here, Billy, I know you're probably somewhat familiar. The Bay Area is super, super expensive. It's a wonderful, beautiful place to work. There's a lot of opportunities for work and weather and places to travel and spend. But on the flip side of that, it's super expensive. So you're not finding a lot of people that are looking to invest in a lot of real estate here, for cash flow, for instance. So, is that the biggest intrigue that you're seeing in the fact that real estate is one of the few things that people could not only, learn to read books like you've read? Kiyosaki is a great, great example, but it's something you could tangibly put your hands on and you have some control over what you're doing with that asset.
Joe, that is one of the things that really attracts me to real estate, just as an asset class. When I look at real estate, comparing that to paper assets or looking at commodities or even businesses, if you look at the large asset categories, and because of the fact that you can have a more control over it, as you mentioned, whether that is that you want to do it yourself or you'd like to invest with someone who is who's going to own or operate the system. And because it is something that's tangible, a lot of times when I think about the days in my mutual fund, when I was heavily in the mutual funds, and someone would ask me where my money was, and I would say it's in the fund. And they said, well, what do you mean by that? Where is that?
Yeah,
and so,
right.
When you got to a certain point, I thought, well, what? The value goes up and it goes down, and I don't really know why. And technically, I don't really know where my money is. So when I could move from that to actually, I know that the money that I was working for and have worked really hard for, it's actually at 123 Main Street. I know the company that's actually operating it, and at least I know where the money is. I know how the operations are going, which helps me to feel more comfortable about the returns.
Right. Did we lose him? Can you hear me?
I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I think we had a momentary. Okay, good. Gotcha. I think just the last couple seconds there. No, it's very good. So, one of the interesting things that you do, Billy, and if you could speak to that for a few minutes for us and our audience, is that, we talk to people all the time that invest in property and help people invest in property, but typically they're in the United States or they're even in the Bay Area, and they have, property groups that they help them invest in Texas and North Carolina and different parts of the United States, very little international. But how do you go about, for the person that, from where you are, this is actually kind of a fun, unique story in that, how do you go about figuring out who to trust, what to do logistically, being internationally in Spain, of course, and residing internationally? How do you go about the flip side of what people are doing and, investing in the United States? Of course, you're from here, you understand it, but how do you go about that? Because it's a unique difference, and I think other people would like to hear that.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's one of the things that you mention quite frequently. There's nothing like building a relationship, and relationships take time. So being geographically displaced from the properties that I own, that my company owns, it basically means not being afraid to pick up the phone, not being afraid to use technology like we're doing today. I mean, I've spent hundreds, if not, I want to say thousands of hours building relationships with people, using technology, number one. And I've also, for those where we believe it's a true fit in terms of them being able to execute on the ground, me being able to also have trust in what they're doing and verifying what they're doing. It's putting in time. And at a certain point, it also means leaving where I am and going back to the United States to sit down and actually meet with people. So it's like any other relationship. Sometimes we realize that it's worth moving forward because we can create a win-win scenarios. And sometimes we invest time and we realize that, it's probably not the best thing. So we don't necessarily move to face-to-face. But I would say in that regard, Joe, it's just like any other relationship. It's start taking the initiative, building and taking time to build trust, and being willing to understand the person or the team or the company that is on that's on the other side of the phone initially before we sit down. Great.
We're going to take a break here in a minute or so, Billy. Before we do that, can you give the listeners a way, if they're interested in reaching out to you, finding out more about specifically what you do, how you might be able to help them? Do you have a contact or a website, phone number? What's the best way for people to contact you?
Yeah, so I usually give people three flavors. For those that, as you're listening, if you'd really like to understand more about long distance investing, which is what I do, I would say the easiest way is to go to bit.ly /Speak with Billy. You want to just know a little bit more about what we're doing. You can also go to KeePon Cashflow. That's KeePon Cashflow.com, and you can find us there on the website.
Great. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and as we always do on our podcast, but hang in with us. If you're on Facebook, stay with us because it's just about a minute or so. We're going to come back, and we're going to revisit some additional information from Billy Keels. He's calling in from Spain. He's the founder and CEO of KeePon Cashflow. He's going to be sharing more and more information about how to invest. And when we come back, I'm going to also ask Billy a little bit about some of the books he would recommend and how does someone get started? That's always one of the main things people want to know. How does one, if they're sitting here listening to the show, how do you get started square one in investing? This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Stick with us. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you in just a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Getting ready to buy or sell a home in 30, 60, or 90 days? Then check out BundleSelect.com to find out how you could save 20% or more on your entire transaction. Save on real estate, lending, and title. With BundleSelect.com, technology and a personal concierge are at your service to save you time and money. Bundle Select's hand-picked team of experts will compete for your business, so you'll save thousands of dollars by bundling all of these services. BundleSelect.com gives you all the control, including using your own realtor. I'm Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, and I have been on the radio educating consumers for years. By bundling services like real estate, lending, and title, you could save tens of thousands of dollars. Act now, and this new model could save you money on your move, lower your interest rate, or cover your closing costs. Visit BundleSelect.com. That's BundleSelect.com.
The estimated minimum savings are based on a comparison with the national average. Individual results may vary, and the estimated savings are not guaranteed. Bundle Select Inc. is a licensed real estate broker. California Bureau of Real Estate Broker license number 004666902.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for those on Facebook that are streaming live. We try to stream live every single day. Most of the time, from those that are following us, we try to stay pretty consistent, which is about 3 o'clock or so Pacific Standard Time. However, today we're doing it a little bit early via Facebook on the streaming live because we have a unique caller coming in from us, calling from Spain, as Billy Keels is the founder and CEO of KeePon Cashflow, talking a little bit about his background, how he started his business, his focus on and his passion on real estate, and the unique part about investing in real estate, building a portfolio, but being overseas as well in a different country, and it's quite unique. However, some of the things that, as I understand about Billy, not only reading his background and a lot of what he's done, but during this interview here, what I'm finding is that a lot of the same traits are unique in some of the people, most of the people that do this. And what I mean do this, someone that decides to, dive in and educate themselves, which Billy has. There's a couple things that are very consistent after over 1,300 plus interviews I've done over the last 7 or 8 years with people, is that when they have an expertise or they've had some success in a specific area, and now we're talking about real estate investing, is that one of the things they always do, they have in common. One, they educate themselves, they stay educated and informed, they seek out mentors, they find good books, they build relationships with people that will help them succeed, and the other side, and as they help the others succeed as well. And those are some of the common traits. Before I jump in and ask a little bit about kind of the person that wants to get started, Billy, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because one of the other things that I think that's missed along the way in these interviews, and I don't want it to be when I do these shows, is that what are some of the things that, as you look back, explain to the listeners that have made you successful in this area of in real estate investing? Because it's one thing to, jump up and down and be excited and say I'm successful and I've got 150 properties and I make $100,000 a month. And I mean, all those things are great, but that's a byproduct of, so what are the things that you did prior to setting the foundation, building the relationships, taking the steps to allow you to, because there's no guarantee to success, but I like to hear what a person like you has done to get to the point along the way. I think it's important to hear those things too.
Okay. I wish I would have known, because you're asking the question now, and I'm thinking I have a book that you could actually see.
Oh, great. Okay.
The first thing is I actually love to write down my goals. I love to visualize my goals. And so when I actually, I guess because I knew that I wanted to purchase a couple of properties to actually start to diversify my portfolio. And so one of the things I remember in October of 2012, I wrote down the goal that I wanted to be able to, at that time, have 10 properties in a 5-year span. So I started to actually visualize what type of dream I was going after at that point in time. And that was one of the things that helped me really to be clear And I guess that specific clarity that I had on that was the goal that I wanted to achieve at that point in time. And now it's gone, to your point, much beyond just thinking about money and number of units, because it's about so much more than that. But that helped me to get really, really clear and focused.
Right.
And that gave me, like, one of the things I learned from one of my mentors as well is it gave me the power to do two things that were really important. And number one was to decide on, this is something, yes, that I want to do. And more importantly, the power and the certainty to act on that. And so once I had that clarity, it gave me the power to do those things, then it was just a matter of moving forward. And I wouldn't pretend that it's always been easy. It's always been perfect. No. But because I was clear on what it is that I wanted to do, I also have a very, very supportive wife who has been with me through the ups and the downs. But most importantly, it was just to realize I've got to write this down and I want to get started. And I know that at the time I wanted things to be perfect, but I didn't let that stop me. So I would say really writing things down and getting clear has been the starter. And then having supportive family and friends and spouses has been something that just continues to push me forward.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit, Billy, about the person that's just starting. And the reason I like to do this, too, is I know there's a huge audience out there. We have thousands of downloads each month. But one of the things that I do know is there's a lot of people that are in that kind of frame of mind right now. Gosh, this sounds exciting. And, Joe, I've heard a lot of shows, and I've heard a lot of people that have done some neat things in real estate and have some successful ventures and continue to grow and learn. And so what would you say to the person that's listening to the show that is thinking about getting started or convinced that, I want to invest, I have some money? What are some of the things you would recommend that they do to begin with before they invest their hard-earned money in real estate, whether it be local, further away, ventures, partnerships? Give us some idea of what they should be thinking about or what some of the things they should do.
Well, Joe, I'm a big believer in getting educated first. I mean, one of your points earlier, I think, and everybody starts at different levels and with different goals and different reasons. But, when you're getting started in real estate, and one of the beauties of real estate is you can be in real estate because you want to be able to buy low and sell high and make money in the middle. Or you can have simple, boring base hits, like I used to say, or you can be a part of the ecosystem. There's so many different areas that you can get into. I guess it's to really pick what is the thing that you like the most about real estate, and really just try to learn as much as you can about that portion. And that means that can be either you being the active real estate investor or being a more educated investor if you're going to place your capital or your time into someone else's investment. So, and nowadays, you talk about it, between ebooks and Facebook and YouTube, there's so much free content. You just need to use your time to educate yourself. And then afterwards, you pick up a book, or you can pick up on Kindles. A lot of them are between 99 cents and $4 or $5. And being able to learn from other people's mistakes, I would say, is the number one thing. Figure out which part of real estate you'd like to be involved in, and then get educated in that specific area. And then from there is to start to take action. Take baby steps. You don't need to, go for the first 8 million properties or 10 million property that you want to invest your money in, or even 500,000, whatever the case may be. But get educated and then take steps towards the goal.
Great. The other part that I get asked a lot, Billy, is, if you go online, certainly infomercials, TV, we can go on, mailer. So it's a real noisy space and industry real estate is about investing and, seminars and booklets and pamphlets and all these. There's all kinds of different things. Again, how does one know that, before you take a dive in, before you invest money in, because there's some seminars where you can invest thousands of dollars and they'll teach you how to do some things, and there's a bunch of models, I guess is what I'm saying. Is it just all models? There's a bunch of them, and I'm not saying some are better and some are worse, but are there any red flags or anything that you'd tell people to watch out for in terms of, before they start really putting up, a good amount of money to invest or learn about investing in real estate?
Yeah, right now, Joe, I'm such a big believer in using the information that's free just to get started.
All right.
And then from there, think about it. Yes, you're right. There's a lot of noise, but typically you're either going to pay in time or money, one of the two. But I would say use your time in the beginning to figure out what is the most relevant information for you. And then a lot of times you can actually reach out to people and start to figure out if the person or the feedback around that particular person or that company is in line with what you are or what you want to achieve as an individual. If it's not, then move into a different direction. And I would say before anybody puts in, any amount of money that is significant for that person is to reference people or friends that have either received benefit from a specific company or program. Because if you don't get that positive feeling, or if you don't also get concrete feedback, maybe that's not a pretty good signal for you. But I would say use your time more than anything else, and get good references, good strong references before you start shelling out a lot of money, because there's just so much free information that is available today that you can at least get a very solid foundation.
That's a good point. We have just a few minutes left, Billy. The other big thing that comes up a lot is, people want to know where should I invest? I know there's a lot of good areas. There's some people that still, say Texas is always a good place, North Carolina, Detroit now, which people stood away from years, but now people swear that that's another good redevelopment place to invest some money. Florida, there's all kinds of cases for different states or areas. Is there a particular area that you're focusing on, or do you just look at when something comes up to see if it makes sense? How do you choose where you invest?
So because during the day, I'm a six-figure salary earner, and the checks and bonuses and all that stuff, I actually looked in the beginning, Joe, for what was I don't want to say the cheapest, but what was like the best deal. So I really looked at the property. Okay. But one of the advantages I have from being so far away is that I wasn't able to, from day one, the first properties that I purchased, I couldn't manage them. So I bought the property, and then I started having problems, and then I had to build a team. And then once I got the team, then I realized there was a specific location. But the way that I actually do it now is I know what type of an investor I am. So I'm very focused on cash flow, hence KeePon Cashflow. And then based on the fact that I'm looking for cash flow, not capital gains plays, there are certain markets within the United States that we like. I mean, you mentioned North Carolina. It's one of the markets that specifically in the Charlotte area that I like, for things like Forbes says it's one state to do business in, and job diversification, low unemployment, lots of universities, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, specifically like that because we can also find cash flow plays there. And then I've spent over 2 years building teams in that specific market. So now that I know what I would like to do as a company in terms of creating cash flow, we found the right markets to do that. And then afterwards, we have the teams that understand the markets. Now we can focus on all of the different multifamily properties that come into the portfolio because the entire system is in place. So I spend a lot of time focusing on the person that I am, the location, the team, and then lastly, we look at the opportunities. So that's kind of the process that I follow now because I started doing it the opposite way in the beginning.
Got it. All right. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but this has been a great interview, and Billy, we'll have you back in a couple of months. Be nice to check back in and see how things are going, but I really, really appreciate your time and your expertise and sharing your story with us today.
Joe, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And also, you asked me one thing and I forgot. Last year I write a book as well, so if anyone wanted to pick that up, they could do that as well at growyourmoneythesmartway.com, and we can also send it out to them.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah,
and thank you so much for your time in the
Yeah, before I do that, I wanted to mention that too. We got sidetracked. There was so much stuff to talk about, but the book, Grow Your Money the Smart Way, again, Grow Your Money the Smart Way, that would be the book that you want to try to pick up. Is that available? Where's the best place to get that and places available to get that for you, Billy?
The book, you can pick it up on Amazon, but what I'd like to do for your listeners and watchers, and they can go to growyourmoneythesmartway.com. Okay. They can leave their there, and then they'll get the book, and then they'll also be able to find out more about what we're doing at KeePon Cashflow. So they can save the $4.99, I think is what it is on Amazon. Oh, perfect. Okay, so growyourmoneythesmartway.com was the place for them, for the listeners today and the watchers, the viewers, I should say, to be able to get that book at no cost. That's correct.
Perfect.
That's correct.
Well, thank you for that generous offer. Again, it's growyourmoneythesmartway.com. growyourmoneythesmartway.com. Go to the website. Get the book. Billy is kind enough and generous enough to give those to the listeners on the podcast, but also the viewers via Facebook and social media. Thanks again, Billy. It was an enjoyable show.
All right. Joe, thank you so much and look forward to coming back.
All right. Take care. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you again for Billy Keels. Great guest. A lot of good information. Always good to get the experts on the show and share that information with you, the audience. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Joe Kuchera again with Real Estate Radio Live. For more information, you could always go to RERadiolive.com. Until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.